Hello everyone, welcome back for your weekly astrological transits. So this one's going from March 26th to the 31st through the Easter Sunday. So happy Easter ahead of time. And the 25th is the lunar eclipse, and I've already uploaded that reading. I'll try to remember to link it below. But anyway, other than that, it does look kind of like a pretty mellow week, except for a lot of aspects coming off of the moon, of course. So let me just bring you over my table and we'll go through the charts one day at a time as usual. Okay, hold on. Okay, so like I said, I'm starting with Tuesday because Monday was the eclipse, and I will link that video below, as well as I'll try to remember to link the one for Trump in case you want to see that, and if you haven't. So what I'm seeing here starting out Tuesday, 6 a.m., March 26th, is that the moon has, with the lunar eclipse it was over here at 5 degrees, but by Tuesday morning it has crossed over the south node and it's right on the other side of it. So it's a waning opposition coming off of the north node, which means that things are not as intense, but there may have been relationship issues, and now it's like, for some people, ruh-roh, I shouldn't have said that. Now what do I do? Can I do some repair work? And I say that especially because Ceres is still in that approaching exact square, and the approaching energy is always stronger, squaring the nodes. So the south node, relationships of the past; north node, it can be like me versus them rather than me and them. Win-win situations, or all, just kind of battling all the time. And Ceres up here at the top can be, like I said before, grief and separation. It is connected to grief and separation. So we do have to, be careful with our relationships, be watchful of our words. And I say that especially, and maybe, by the time this Tuesday rolls around, because I always upload these videos up the Thursday before. So today's the 20th, I think. Where am I? Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I can see the date up here. It's March 21st. So that's the thing. I always have my head in like 3 different astrology charts for clients that I'm working on, plus their transits looking forward, a year ahead and things like that. So I'm really dependent on just looking at what's going on in the chart. But what day it is, not always good. But look at this right here. Mercury, okay, so by Tuesday the 26th, Mercury is now on the other side of Eris, okay? Which means, Mercury newly having moved into Aries not so long ago, it crossed over the North Node and Chiron, so bringing up things about the future that you want. Chiron having to do with maybe the fear of being abandoned, or some impulsiveness to just kind of insert yourself a little too much. So there's some confrontations going on in relationship to try and work things out, so there are issues around, it's like I want to be so careful with words because I don't want anybody to take it the wrong way. If you have a lot of Aries energy in your chart, it's so good for independence. It's so good for daring and getting yourself out there, being bold. And there are so many, traumatized Aries on the planet where there's a real need for them to come out. And so you just have to be careful as far as how you're putting yourself out there. You want to always be present and try and stay very present in the relationships that you're with. So that's the way to work through this. But with Mercury, the messenger, and everything to do with communication, verbal, subconscious, things like that, crossing over not only the North Node, but Chiron, and then bumping up against Eris, which is, that can be tremendous confrontation sometimes. Remember, Eris is she's like, a lot like Pluto, but she's our feminine counterpart to Mars and Pluto, and she's our struggle for being seen and heard and equal, right, as a woman. Or the feminine struggles, inside. I mean, every man has a feminine side. It's when we stop and receive, listen, things like that. And every woman has or however you identify, we all have the masculine and the feminine within us. That's just reality. I said that once to this big, strong guy, and he's like, I ain't got no feminine, bitch. It took only a couple of, little conversations for him to go, oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. I'll never forget that day. But anyway, so Mercury on the other side of Eris can bring up a lot of conversations around equality and justice. And the new push, even more of an oomph of a push for that. So, we're talking everything that has to do with healthcare, reproductive rights, all of those things, LGBTQ rights. Everyone that is alive on the planet has a right. We all have our unique individual rights to exist, right? So, but it's about balancing that independence and assertiveness and that fearlessness with how can you be direct? How can you have loving confrontations, right? And I'm giving so much more emphasis on this because we have this yod to the moon, right? From Venus, that rules relationships no less, and the sign of Libra and Taurus, of course, and the sextile over to Jupiter in Taurus and Uranus in Taurus. So we have two inconjuncts here going up to the moon and the south node. So there are all of these adjustments needing to be made in relationship if people are going to feel safe with each other, if people are going to feel like they can trust their relationship that they're in, or this could be business partnership, it could be anything, but there's so much emphasis here on relationship from all ends, okay? So this can make for, these yods here, can make for, fated, sometimes we have relationships just to grow. What's that old saying? There's a reason, sometimes a season, whatever. But other times it's a choice point. Libra is known for the need to make decisions and make choices. Aries is known for being impulsive and head first, and I'm going this way. You can either come with me or not. I don't give a shit. But Libra's over here going like, what? Wait a minute. What about me? What about us? Like, what's going on here? So we often have to be careful. And then other times, I can never say what's right. I would never try to tell somebody like, okay, come on, unless it's an abusive situation, then that's completely different. But you never know, when is the right time to stay or leave a relationship or stay, stay and work harder, try it. I mean, I always, myself personally, I would always give it the best I could just because then that way that you didn't just, let it go for no reason. Right, because the more you work in a relationship, you work on yourself in a relationship, the better it is for both parties. But this could even be a group situation. There's that possibility too with Pluto up here in Aquarius, even though we only have a little semi-square to Venus coming off of there. But then again, there's that need for action. In order to stay in your integrity, in order to heal your soul, sometimes you do have to detach because to stay in it, you might be victimizing yourself further, especially if it's a relationship where a person is continually hurting you or coming after you to borrow money and they're never paying it back and they're using it for drugs or, things like that. So being used and abused could be part of this fatal yod in here, where there's, a choice point that really has to be made. But what it is for you, I can never say, unless you were coming to me personally with a reading. I would only help you explore what's going on. I don't make decisions for people, unless it's a dear friend, someone I love, and I know they're being hurt, like, physically hurt, something like that. That's different. But okay, we also have, so besides that tension field and series, and then with the T-square we have going on, we also have the sun approaching the north node, 1 degree every day. So it'll get pretty close by the end of the week. And the north node being our path in life, we're all moving on the leading edge of being much more independent. And with the north node at that, now the nodes go backwards. So, we started out with 29 degrees of Aries, where we had some mastery before, and now we're learning, as it moves 1 degree backwards every, as often as it goes. It takes about a year and a half to get all the way through it. But anyway, the deal is that we're moving backwards within the decans. So the 3 decans of the sign. So that brings through the the ability to, when we get to that 0 degrees Aries point, we're halfway there, that we will have developed a stronger foundation. But it might be that we're starting over, right? Because we've gone through all the lessons that needed to be learned. Right now we're halfway, we're right in the lesson learning stage, right in the center of it, middle of it, the middle phase of it. And so we're reflecting back on the past. What have we learned about ourselves? What do we really want moving forward? Where are we? And with the North Node moving back towards Chiron, although Chiron is going, still moving forward. Eventually, you can see that when the North Node gets all the way to 0 degrees Aries, then the next stage is going to be into Pisces territory. So this is the time to make those new frontiers, maybe would be a word, in relationship, where maybe you and your partner or business partners or this group that you're in, maybe you are renegotiating in ways that you're bringing through something new. So that's pretty much it on the relationship side of it that I can see now, for now anyway. When it comes to Venus over here to the sextile of, you can see the double sextile here. Venus is at 18 degrees and Jupiter's at 16, Uranus is at 20. We're within that 4 degrees here. This is a really good time to start opening up to all things much more abundant in your life, of, the benign circle of abundance and love. And coming off of Venus, we are talking relationships, but we're also talking money. Venus in Pisces is really, I don't know, I don't tend to use exaltation and detriments, the way other astrologers do, but Venus in Pisces is pretty darn good. Uranus in Taurus can bring through changes if a person has been, I look at this aspect here and I know that it's in Trump's chart. So I'm thinking he knows how to grift off his base really well, but I'm seeing a reversal of fortune here every day that Jupiter, because he's gonna blow something up is what he's gonna do, and I think he's self-imploding. I honestly think he's headed towards bankruptcy. But anyway, yeah. I'll read on him tomorrow. I'll do a card reading on all of that tomorrow. But anywho, Jupiter for us is about opening up and expanding our ability to create stability based on our value systems, And it's good for making money. It's really good, especially with Venus, the ruler of Taurus, and Venus over here ruling this Libra moon and south node for today. And the moon is in that second, at the end of the second decan of learning lessons, and is moving towards deepening and blossoming, blooming. So that's really good. This the moon will come off of this configuration here, this yod, later today. So that will shift. Now, when it comes to Jupiter and Uranus getting closer and closer together, I think I mentioned it last week that if you're a person that plays the lotto, maybe get your own numbers, and this could be a really good time. But it could also be a time of just opening up and expanding more ways to make money, securities, have stability, whatever it takes, It could even be something like refinancing your home or paying off a second mortgage that you had. All of these things will help us focus in on what needs to change, because remember, Uranus is our change agent, and Jupiter helps to heal those things, Or if you're someone like Trump, things are blowing up. It all depends on the person, right? Now, with the double trine up here to Ceres, this aspect brings through, and it is these are approaching trines here because Ceres is only at 14. The approaching energy is stronger, remember? And this could be something that just comes through really quickly that helps create a very, very strong, stable foundation for your home, your any way that protects you is what's related to Ceres. So we're all wanting to be more protected and protect the ones that we love, and we're looking for the creation of that type of an environment in order to live, right? Home prices going up through the roof, that doesn't help. That's why we have this, this Ceres square. None of that helps. So we're looking for deals. Maybe it's about not needing to have a perfect home, and then you do some renovation yourself, and you make it perfect for you once you're there. Or here's a thought. There's the ability with Venus in Pisces, and the double sextile over here to Jupiter and Uranus, and then the trine up to Ceres. If you have the inclination, or you can, it bodes well for like a home construction loan, where you get a little piece of land, or you buy an older home that's just worthless and you take it down to the, what do they say, like take it down to the meter. And you might have to put in new meters, but there's a lot that you can do without getting a complete. I think you still have to get the building permits, but there's a lot you can do within the confines of not completely bulldozing it down. But if it's a really old home and you need to redo plumbing and electrical and all that, then maybe it is all the way down to the dirt. So, but anyway, these aspects bode well for those types of projects. Any type of project, actually, that creates a stronger, stable foundation for you, and as long as you don't mind working hard for it. Okay, so the rest of this weekly overview, I'm really being drawn to, first of all, I just have to name again all of this Aries energy here. Just be careful. Be careful about moving around too quickly. Aries rules the head. Be careful, with hitting your head. Make sure that you get enough water so that you're staving off any type of headaches it could possibly create. Be careful with things like energy drinks or too much coffee. So we're talking everything in the head, including our eyes. Right, so be very careful with your eyes. Protect your eyes. If you're doing any kind of, unusual work in the garage, you might want to wear the goggles, things like that. Just think ahead. It's not, oh, that's funny, think ahead for your head. It's not just the eyes, but, you're talking everything that you breathe in as well. Aries relates to Mars. Mars is the ruler of Aries. Mars is what keeps us grounded. Sometimes Mars goes too fast. Mars mixed with Aries energy can be accident prone. So just be very, very careful this week. Stay grounded best you can. And, there's the energy here to move forward, and bringing in something new is all about Aries. We're in springtime, right? It's the first day of spring. You see all the little blooms coming out. And so while you're moving forward, be careful so that you don't end up having to take 2 steps back and then start over. Just be careful about being like going, half-cocked and running with something without making the plans that need to, lay the foundation first before you go charging ahead. Okay, so, and that might be true with Jupiter and Uranus together, because Uranus can be kind of unpredictable, and Taurus is like the bull that just charges forward. So we got to be careful with this energy. Now, let's address this Pisces stellium. And so we can see that Venus is on the other side of Saturn now. The limitations are dissipating on that probably relationship and money front. And it's Venus moving closer towards, it's still far enough away to not be a conjunction, but moving towards Neptune will be a really, really super transit for all artistic endeavors that you want to get yourself involved with. Whatever you feel like putting time and effort into, what calls you is what I'm feeling with all this Piscean energy here. And with Saturn there, in the second decan of Pisces, we're still at the lesson learning stage. So it's almost 13 degrees. It's basically 12 degrees, 58 minutes. So we're just about there. But that's still, midway. And Mars is the planet that's going to move closer and closer to Saturn. And then, of course, Saturn will catch up to Neptune later on. We'll talk about that when that transit comes. But the next video that I want to get done, I did the solar eclipse video yesterday, so that's uploaded. I took everyone through the houses, and then if it connects to personal planets. And then, so the next one I want to do is this one here, this Jupiter, Uranus. I'll get that done next week, because I think it's going to be amazing for so many people, just as when this Venus-Neptune happens and when Saturn-Neptune happens. I think these are amazing transits for creation. So with Mars, now Mars is going to get us enthusiastically going in a certain direction. So which direction for you? You'd have to see where Mars is in your chart now, like whatever house it's in. Yeah, so it can take, Mars moves pretty quickly, being that it's out of Aquarius. It's still, that's the thing. Aquarius and Pisces are both signs that just open you up to more. But Pisces can have that power of dissolving something that isn't working. But so it's for about the next month and a half. It's usually about a month and a half in each sign. Figure out so the way, I think the best way to work with it is to stay as centered and open as you possibly can, like open to all the abundance of the universe, open to all the possibilities. Piscean energy is so beautiful when it comes to including all possibilities. It's that very, flowing energy that they can help you, just open up to so much more than you could have imagined on your own. So if you do prayer work, you want to do it in the affirmative sense, like you're thanking your guides and your guardian angels for having it. For, you know, you have to put yourself in the place that you already have it when you do that type of work. Because if you're pleading and begging, oh, please bring me this, then you're putting out into the universe that you don't yet have it inside of you. And when you're working to create and co-create, you have to know that you already do have it inside of you. You're just waiting for this darn slow time-space continuum to catch up. So remember that as you're moving forward with your spiritual work, right? Because Mars is all about moving forward, and it's very enthusiastic usually. And it activates, it moves energy. And then in Piscean terms, we're talking about healing. We're talking about bringing in spiritual opportunities. We're talking about completing things that really help our soul to move forward. So take advantage of this next month and a half with Mars in Pisces, because it is a much softer energy. And I am hoping that it helps with immigration. I'm having faith that that floating pier that was, I guess it was, I think it's a World Food Kitchen or World, I think it was, what's his name, Jose Andre, something like that. I might have the wrong, I might have the wrong person completely. I'm so sorry if I do, but with Sears in the series up here in the square, and then, you know, dealing with people needing rescued. You know, that Mars in Pisces, it can be related to rescuing people, rescuing victims, rescuing immigrants, rescuing people that are in a very challenging position. So, and as Mars moves closer to Saturn, it's coming pretty quickly. Within the next couple of weeks, I'm wondering if we can have because Saturn rules a government, so maybe there is some governmental coming together. Then again, Mars, can bring in the battle. All right, so literally, there's this like battle with the House GOP that is working against their own best interests, and then of the entire, United States as well. It's ridiculous the things that they're wasting time on. So, but for us personally, this can be really, really beautiful energy for all of those artistic creations. And then Pisces being ruled by Neptune, we're in the realm of movies, film, video, anything of that nature is heightened with this stellium in Pisces, and I love it. So, okay, let's see, what else? You can see, Saturn is still in sextile to Ceres, but Ceres is a couple of degrees away, so it's no longer an approaching sextile. So pretty soon the opportunity is going to wane a little bit. It's not as strong. The approaching energy is much stronger, but it's still there. So for anyone who's been slow to do their childhood, what would be the best way to say it? Like to access the issues that need to be healed from childhood trauma, childhood neglect, childhood, the maternal imprint especially, but it doesn't have to be maternal. It can be both parents. The home, the imprint at the home. If you grew up in a home that wasn't very happy or very positive, this transit is here to help you heal that. And then come into your own. With Saturn and Pisces, you can come full circle and clear out all of that, all of those old false beliefs that kept you spinning in vicious circles of not having your real needs met. And so this is a very, a transit that's geared towards really coming home to yourself. If you can access that, those deeper pains, that deeper wounding, process it through. And then It's all done. Once you've done it, you never have to do it again. You might revisit it though. We get triggered. Things can happen that bring up something new, and you go, "Oh, I forgot that happened when I was little." And usually, I don't know for you guys, but for me, it seemed like at first when I first started on my path in the late 80s, it was all about the relationships I was in. And then I started healing my, teenage years. And then it went back and back and back until I got into infant trauma. And then it past life trauma. It just seems like everything goes back until till you work it all through. And so you're always like spiraling in and pulling out those weeds that are, on top of the garden of who you truly are. It's like we're always just excavating who we really are, with getting into that buried treasure. So, okay, I think that's about it. I'm going to go ahead and move forward to Wednesday. So Wednesday, March 27th, 6 a.m., we have the moon in Scorpio. And we still have that Ceres square going on. You can see we still have that sextile from Ceres to Saturn, and then Venus Venus has already moved a degree further, so now there's no sextile to Jupiter, but it is to Uranus. So something could come through quickly today and tomorrow because of this opportunistic transit here. And then, of course, we still have this one going on, the 2 trines from Ceres. This is really good for getting things right, with your home life. Or healing if you have food issues you've been working on. This is a really good transit for that too. Or if you want to build a garden, get a garden going, this is perfect for that. So, especially all this Aries energy, planting new seeds. And the solar eclipse that's coming up is a new moon. Solar eclipses are always new moons, so I feel like it's redundant to say that, but I do have to mention it. Because when that comes, the sun will be, by that time the moon will be over here, and the sun and the moon will be at 19 degrees. And by then, Chirons move together. It's a conjunction with all 3. So you'll see if you watch that video. But what that means is that this is the buildup before that. So think of the new seeds that you really want to get planted. And if it is an actual physical garden or a victory garden or whatever it is, oh, more power to you. I love that. So with the moon, I'll just stick with the transits of the moon for the rest of the reading. So with unless I see something pop up that's important, but the moon in Scorpio. So now the moon, just remember, always brings us into what we need. It's the public mood. It helps us to feel more. It helps us to connect the dots. It's all about our digestion. Scorpio rules the reproductive system and the colon and, elimination system, the entire, all that stuff. And so there can be, with the square over to Pluto, there can be some challenges when it comes to, because the moon helps us respond. So with Scorpio, you're wanting to respond, but you might be fighting off the need for revenge, like vengeful words, especially when it's newly into Scorpio, because it's a little more, we haven't really developed a strong foundation when the moon is in the first decan of the sign. We're getting there. We're developing something. So you have to, with Scorpio, we have to be careful not to, what's that term, cut your nose off to spite your face or something. We have to be careful. We might be a little leery of betrayal issues within others, but so we are. The moon and Pluto are a lot alike. They're both about the subconscious and kind of like what's going on underground. Now, when it's in Scorpio, it can be used the best way by refining something that you are wanting to enhance in your life, but usually it bumps up against conflict. Now, of course, Pluto can be power. And so you're wanting something that's more, and you're wanting more, and you're wanting something better than you've had. But then there's might be somebody over here saying, "Oh, yeah, not yet," or you have to give me this before whatever it is, you know. And with Scorpio ruling, you know, sometimes other people's finances and things like that, if it's a loan situation. And then we have Mercury retrograde coming in on the 1st. So, yeah, there could be like loan paper issues or credit card, like if you're wanting new credit or something like that. There's that real possibility there. Because Pluto in Aquarius can, of course, be connected to finance, like bigger institutions, the power of a bigger institution. And they're just looking at just the facts, right? It's, yeah, definitely just very fact-based, very intellectual. Now, we also have the trine to Mars. And this is an approaching trine. So this morning, there, you know, with the moon to Mars, it's like you want to get on it, and these are water signs, right? So there's a flow, you know what you want, and you want to go in a certain direction, and this is a fast flow of energy here. But then there's some tension field over here with Pluto that's kind of, you know, I don't know which one's going to win. It kind of cancels each other out. So I don't know if there's going to be a delay, or it could just be that there's something very powerful that needs to be worked through within to get the energy flowing. But it, you know, the energy's there. It's that's the thing when you see these, you know, two different transits at the same time, or two different aspects at the same time within a transit. You're like, well, I don't know which one's going to win here, honestly. All I know is the moon is the faster moving. Well, here, let's just do this. Let me come forward this way, and let's see. Yeah, well, the square is gone. Oh, I'm sorry. What did I do? Need to go hours. Here we are. Come on. There we go. Forward. How long does it take to get rid of that square? That's my question. Yeah. Oops. Come on. Okay, so the square to the no. Oh, wait. Hold on. I was looking at the wrong one. Okay, so it's still there at 5 p.m. It's all damn day, you guys. But it's a waning square. Okay. So, yeah. So, okay, so let me go back to the Wednesday chart where it started. Yeah, but it's pretty much all day. So that could be a little frustrating. But the trine over to Mars will last the longest because, of course, it's, you know, 2 degrees apart. Yeah, these were one right there, same degree. Yeah, okay, and then with the moon in the morning, we also have the opposition, and this is building. Or no, I'm sorry, it's waning. Yeah, over to Mercury. So I think, honestly, this is a quieter type of a transit. Mercury in Aries can be like verbal diarrhea, but the moon in Scorpio is quiet. Scorpios go deep. They're usually careful with what they say because, again, they're fine-tuning. They're transmuting as they go. The only trouble we could get into would be if you're just so absorbed in, if something else is consuming you and wasting your energy, and that wouldn't surprise me with the square to Pluto for the day, it could make for a little bit of a challenging day. Yeah. Or it could, like if you get in a real fight with somebody, it could dissolve an opportunity that would still be there if you just like let it sit for a day, right? Or at least till the end of the day. And work through your own. The best way to use this energy is if you're bumping up against any power issues with someone else or any organization, just take your time and work it through. Use it as as an opportunity to work through, how you're feeling. Go deep and work through those emotional reactions. Because remember, emotional reactions are just a repeat from the past. If you're not in emotional reaction, those all the times that we are not in emotional reaction, we are in the present flow of the feelings in our bodies, the universe, all that. We're connected up to the positive flow. But when we hit those emotional reactions, it's nothing more than an opportunity to work on something from the past and question yourself. Question find out what the false belief is. Might be something like I can never. And the best way to work with that is to remember to never say never. But so when we're working with a false belief, we are unhooking ourselves from duality, from a dualistic split within that says, it's either or. It might be that whatever it is you're wanting, you're still going to get it. You just have to wait a little bit and work through some power issues here. So, okay. Oh wait, I just thought of another way this could work out. I had a situation like this morning with something that wasn't working well with StreamYard. Setting up the live streams. So it's a pattern that's been there for months and months, and I finally decided to get with tech support on it. And of course, they want a screenshot, they want all this other stuff, and the chat person. It took them quite a while, but I could feel my energy draining. You know what I mean? Because I was all geared up to do this reading, but I had to stop and take care of that. And then I realized I should have waited. I could do that later when I'm not on any type of a time schedule. And so that was my mistake of bumping up against. Now, of course, the moon's not in Scorpio today, but this is a perfect example of what I went through this morning. Is when you're dealing with Aquarian energy, Pluto in Aquarius, we're dealing with tech, right? The people in power with tech, the tech developers, the web developers, things like that. So this could be one of those days where you're having trouble with something and it really gets to you. Try to just kind of back off, do your best to work with it. And it might be slow moving at first, but don't let it absorb or take up too much of your power, because those things will be, they'll be worked out later on eventually. Okay, so anything else? You've got the opposition to Mercury there. Yeah, be careful with words. The moon in Scorpio, you can kind of eviscerate someone with words when it's opposing Mercury. So be careful. Be careful about saying the quiet part out loud. With this sesquisquare coming over here to Venus in Pisces, there can be some stubborn energy when it comes to maybe feeling like you're stuck and you want something to work, but there's something not flowing over here, right? So again, I think it's just the backing off that needs to happen. And you can see that we have the, is that a complete, let's see, 16, 15, 19, well, it's a softer, yeah, no, this is super interesting. We've lost one end of it's not a yod, but it looks kind of like it if you just sit back and look. But here, if I do that, notice how we don't see where the sextile is coming from Uranus and up to Venus. This is where this opportunity is really what we want to focus in on today. This opportunity to reinvent yourself artistically, intuitive arts, anything that has to do with getting your message out there on media. There's something that can open up really beautifully. Also, this is really good for relationships. But we have also the adjustment coming from Jupiter that wants to expand, safety, values. Now, Uranus, this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction can also be really beautiful for inventing more ways to be safe, like literally inventions for safety. But with Jupiter and the inconjunct, quincunx going back to the South Node, and it won't last for, it might be here all week, actually. But it'll be waning. It's already waning. It's not exact. So the energy is not as strong, but there's adjustments because there's somebody over here or a group of people or social group, social platform, maybe social media, or literally just a relationship, a bridge over here that you're having to adjust with. You want to move forward. You've got these ideas for expansion, and you're working hard to get there, but there's an adjustment over here at this end. Or another way that this could play out is that you're being lazy and maybe doing all kinds of cooking and home stuff and things around the house, when over here your relationships are suffering. It could be something like that. Or there could be something over here that would help you in the future, but you're too busy over here just thinking about money or all the Venusian things, all of watching movies, maybe too much, like binge watching and stuff like that, and not enough real connection in relationships. That could be something like that. Now, the other leg of the inconjunct, see here, it's coming from Saturn. Is it? No, wait. 13? Yeah, it is. Yeah, the 19 degrees of Venus is too far out. These orbs with inconjuncts are like 0 to 3 degrees. So, Saturn coming back to the South Node, again, is, this doesn't bode well for the immigration situation, having safety and security at the borders. This is all House GOP bullshit here, I can tell. They're acting like, they're the victims, or we're all the victims, when here there's already a plan that's in place, and they're the ones that are holding it up because Trump told them to. So that's what that's all about. Personally, though, this would be holding a strong, healthy boundary, if need be, in relationships of the past. And this is this one's going to be lasting for some time because Saturn moves pretty slow. The South Node doesn't move very fast, and the South Node's going back. So next thing we'll see it at 14 degrees, and then we'll see Saturn moving this way at 14 degrees. So what we have going on here is this need for an adjustment when it comes to the foundations that you're wanting to create in your life. Saturn is everything to do with controlling things for yourself. You don't mind denying yourself with some things so that you can build the stronger, you know what I mean? It's like sometimes you're building like one-time foundations, so you're putting out money for one-time expenses. Or imagine, like building a website or designing a website, working with a designer, a website designer for what you really want. These things take time, and you go back and forth. This would be a perfect example. If you're building a new website, you would have this would be the person who's a master. Saturn is about mastery, and then with Piscean energy, there's that vision for beauty. But you have the relationship with them, and you're going back and forth to get it right. This would be perfect, especially with the moon in Scorpio. So if you're thinking of starting, a new business and you need to build a website, because of course you do. That's how it goes. This is a perfect time for that. And even when Mercury retrograde comes in, that's the thing with Mercury retrograde, you still have to work, you still have to do your things. It's just that if you don't read the fine print and you're not really careful, I expect, little bugs to be worked out, but you'll do it. It's not a big deal. Let's see. Anything else for today with the moon, with that opposition? Yeah, we're good. Let's go to Thursday. Okay, so Thursday, March, what is that? It's 28th, I think. Come on. There we are. The font is so dang small. So the 28th, we have the moon at 14 degrees of Scorpio, sextiling, and in the morning it's an approaching. So this is a really, really good morning for opportunities to work on whatever it is that you're wanting to bring more protectiveness, anything that has to do with protecting, and especially with this opposition, oh my goodness, and we have the aspect of the architect. That's right, because here we are with this. Well, okay, let's start at this end, because these planets are slower moving. The moon's coming in to trigger something, basically. So what it's going to trigger and bring some depth into and transformative power into is, again, something that you're wanting to create in your life that helps you be more free, because we're talking Uranus, especially maybe creating, if you can. Now, it's not passive at first, but you can work to create passive income, like writing books, like whatever it is that something can be, looked at, viewed over and over again, used over and over again, but you only have to take the time to create it once. Thinking long-term future is really good with this transit, with Jupiter conjunct Uranus. But with the trine, so with the trine up to Ceres and the sextile over to the moon, we've got the emphasis up here on Ceres. So again, with Ceres, think about all things that can protect you in your future. In the sign of Capricorn, we don't mind working hard. We don't mind, the goals, putting some goals in place and getting the construction going, whatever it is. We don't mind the planning. We like shaping the opportunity that we're creating. So with Ceres and bringing in, Ceres, we're talking about whatever brings in protection. And Ceres is the ruler of animals too. So this could be something like, getting rescuing an animal, a puppy or a kitty or whatever, or an older dog or whatever, from, a rescue shelter. This could be even into like clearing out, recycling, because Scorpio has to do sometimes with recycling, renewables, things like that. This could be investing into renewables for some people if you have some spare cash. This could also be, like I said, cleaning out your garage, recycling. Getting things working better. When we're halfway through the cycle of through the sign of Scorpio, we're in the just right there in the learning stage of how getting things to work better. Because remember, Scorpio bottom line is always headed towards refining things, and doesn't mind working hard, doesn't mind conflict, but it works hard towards getting more harmony going, so that things work on their own, so that things are set and they work on their own. So now this aspect here could also be used very wonderfully to work deeply on anything that you want to work on within. This is also a really good transit for working on psychic intuitive abilities, because that's a foundation to, like let's say you decided that, well, you know already that you're really tuned into animals and you want to start a business as a pet psychic. Right there. Perfect. Let's see, what else? The trine, we have 2 trines coming off the moon. You can see that they line up with Saturn both Saturn, and it'll line up even more tight with Venus. So the moon to Saturn, now with the moon in Scorpio, this is of course going to hit the Neptune as well. So the moon is initiating trines. Already was trining Mars, now it's trining Saturn and Venus. Next will be Neptune. So the moon is initiating this fast flow of deeply transformative energy that can get things moving that were previously stuck with Saturn. And, because Saturn can delay things, but then also money, opportunities, love life. Notice that Venus has moved forward a degree. And then the moon to Neptune can bring through the ability to kick back and really have some fun and just let go. Could dissolve, the tension that was there before when we had the squares going on. So that's nice. And that aspect of the architect is really good for building, like I said. And then we still have that little sextile over there to Saturn, which is pretty good too. Pluto, you can see, is now coming into a square with Mercury. So again, here we go with the need to be very, very careful with our words, and to be careful with the way we're thinking, even, because it's kind of like a mind on fire, right? Remember, of course, it's a lot of fire, because with Aries, it's a fire sign. Aries is also a cardinal sign, so there's movement. So think of fast-moving fire, and then connected to the mind, the mouth. Now, also, it could help us, work through something where we have felt stuck. The square can be a tension field that turns into a strength, where we understand that our real power is to control our own minds, and don't let people in your head, right? Or if they're not paying rent, you don't, right? Get in your head. No rent. No rent, no head there. Oh, God, I have to be careful what I'm saying. No. Don't let anybody take up space in your brain with their snarky comments or disconnected energy from the heart, because we don't have anything over here in Leo holding space for keeping the heart open. What we have is Pluto in Aquarius, which can be very disconnected from the heart. It can be really good when it comes to intuition and inventing new things. So it's all, again, it comes back to how do you use the energy? Well, if you're not using it right, you can be cranky. If you're using it well, you can be intuitive and inventive and use your high levels of reasoning abilities, basically your intelligence. But if it's connected to just listening to somebody else gripe, or somebody who's, with a mind on fire and verbal diarrhea, you can get sucked into just a lot of detached energy, detached from the heart. People who don't have any compassion, people who are extreme. That's the thing, is like Pluto in Aquarius can be freedom loving, or it can be very rebellious for no reason other than just because they want to rebel. Remember, Uranus rules Aquarius, so there can be an explosion of rebelliousness here that's not really grounded, even though it should be, and is not really thinking about safety, even though it should be. And with the moon moving closer and closer to an exact opposition to Uranus, just all I can say over and over again is to just be very careful about getting into any fights with anyone, even online. Work on, what would be helpful is to work on your own unique genius within, because Aquarian energy can be very just genius. Ingenious, I guess, is a better word. Focus on the future. Use AI and technology. This would be really, really, this whole configuration here, and especially with all the Aries energy, and especially Mercury in Aries, this could be, and this would be a wonderful way to use the energy, would be to decide, even though I don't have anything in Gemini here, but Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. So if you want to learn something new that's technologically, like if you've been feeling kind of lax in your computer skills, take an online class. If you do a lot of work on Zoom, there are tons of tutorials. I should do that because I sometimes have trouble guiding other people how to, how to connect with me on Zoom. I'm waiting for them to find certain things, and I never mind. And it doesn't take more than, 5 minutes at the most. But yeah, and I've also been blessed by other people who were complete tech wizards and Zoom wizards too, and taught. Actually, had a connection with one gal who taught Zoom tutorials. So they're out there. Anything that you want to learn is out there, and it's easy to find. So Google is your best friend when it comes to searching, or use whatever search engine you want. But I prefer Google myself. But anyway, search for what you want to learn and use that fiery mind. I probably should have said that first thing, for the earlier in the week, but at least finally I'm saying use this as the courage to go after what you want and allow yourself to, have the discipline, open up to disciplining yourself to, if you want to learn something new, how about at least an hour a day? And you might find out it's something really fun, and you might, might not mind doing it 4 hours a day until you get good at it. So, what else? Got the opposition there with the moon. We've got the aspect of the architect. I think that's it. Let's go to Friday. Okay. Friday, the moon's still in Scorpio, but it's in the last few degrees. So we're moving towards that anaretic degree where things are it can be intense. And notice the opposition is waning off of Uranus. So we do have to be very careful between Thursday and Friday with anything that could be kind of explosive. But confrontations, the oppositions can bring in confrontations, but then if you can be very careful with your words and actions, what can happen is you can have a big breakthrough. So there could be a breakthrough that comes through between Thursday and Friday. Now, this could have something to do politically with Trump, because I do believe he's headed towards bankruptcy. But I never know, like how it could be that money. This is why I have to use cards, because the astrology it's good for giving times, and it's good for seeing the energy, but how a person's going to use it or how it's going to unfold for them is hard to say, because with Uranus it's just completely unpredictable. This aspect, Jupiter and Uranus, can be a reversal of fortune. And with the Scorpio moon over here, this could be, all these banks and insurance companies and bond, equities, things like that, who continue to say no to him. And this could be Letitia James coming through with all of the liens that I'm sure she's completely ready to just pounce with. So, yeah. Okay. For us personally, like I said, a breakthrough could happen between Thursday and Friday, and that would bring in very, transformative value. Like I said before, the moon was going to trine Venus, and here it has by 6 a.m. in the morning Pacific time. So right here, the moon trine Neptune It's still in a little bit there with Venus, but with the Venusian quality imbued with Neptune, there's an opening and a union with all types of spirituality, all types of artistic abilities, compassion. Piscean. When you think of Pisces energy, just think of all things loving and sensitive and kind. But also on the dark side, it can be gullibility. I can't say the word. People being too gullible. People into cults. People who put themselves in the situation where they're being victimized. We are exactly in that 6 degrees of separation with Venus and Neptune. So this is getting tighter. And notice we do have the aspect of the architect. Now that Venus is, in that sextile, has been in the sextile to Uranus, like I said before, all week, this opportunity here is to make sure you're safe, but not... because even though they're harmonious aspects, it doesn't always mean they bring in harmony. Sometimes they're really hard lessons, because you've, given money away to people who are just grifting. And you're not going to ever get anything back, and they're also looking to be dictators. So, something like that. The energy's there for dissolving. Neptune can help dissolve victimhood, dissolve the grift, dissolve the gullibility, dissolve the distortion. And Venus, money. So. But for us, those of us who are working in the light, this is really good. This Scorpio moon trining Neptune, having already, had its little sojourn with Venus, and then the sextile over to Uranus could bring something through very quickly. Something that you've been working really hard on can come through quickly. You could wake up to an email that says, just exactly what you've been waiting for is come to fruition. Your loan has come through, or your escrow has closed, or your escrow can close today or next week, or it can be very, very good news, something like that. Or a collaboration with other people, anything, whatever you're working on, or art supplies are coming in the mail, whatever it is. So, yeah. Okay, let's see. The inconjunct coming off the moon, there's 2 of them, and they relate to Eris and Mercury. So there could be, with this one, there could be some adjustment, or a couple of adjustments that need to be made based on the fact that things could be, you have to be careful with words. There could be some intense verbal confrontation going on here. So be careful there. If you're not getting what you want, you're going to need to work through it and wait until this goes. This is the moon. The moon. It's like the ocean. There's the ebb and the flow. So Scorpios know how to work with that energy, and I think that we can all learn from that. Let's see, anything else? The trine, yeah, you can see how the aspects are, the transits are, they're mixed, right? We've got a very mixed bag going on here. The only thing that we have a constant for the whole week is this Jupiter in conjunct the South Node and Saturn in conjunct the South Node. So the adjustments are, there's delays, and then there's an adjustment to expansion because of relationships over here, or on the political level because of a lack of fairness and equality within the government, within the House GOP. it's slowing down the ability to expand safely and just move forward. And they are literally doing themselves in. Okay, so Saturday, we have the moon in Sag first thing in the morning. And it pops right in with the square to Mars. If you get up earlier, it's going to be there as well. But the square to Mars in Pisces, Mars in Pisces doesn't want to move very quickly because it's very open and seeing the big picture, and it wants to make sure everything's inclusive. But the moon in Sag is like, come on, let's go, man. I see the way. I know which way to go. Trust me, kind of a thing. So the feelings are moving quickly. The feelings are fiery, but these are both mutable signs, so they're willing to, there can be some working together. But one's fire and the other one's water. So, I don't know if a lot will get done this morning, is what I'm trying to say. But it might be a good day for getting it would definitely be a very good morning for getting very clear. Because if you're over here on this side with Mars and Pisces, you can see the big picture. You can use that energy that way. And the moon is working into an exact square with Saturn. So I think it would be a really good morning just to work on making good plans. As far as like actually getting and going, you want to be careful with that fiery Sag moon that wants to go. This could be family members that want to go and you're not ready, or you're feeling like it's not a good idea yet, and there's a little bit of a battle. There's that little possibility there. But the moon is working into a double trine to the sun and the North Node. So again, we've got cardinal movement-oriented fire over here with the sun at 10 degrees Aries, and then the moon at 8 degrees Sag. That's a fast flow of energy. And then with the moon moving towards the North Node, there could be some real wisdom about the way to go. Because, Sag energy is good it's ruled by Jupiter. And it's usually good for getting good directions, like knowing which way to go. And it's a very intuitive sign as well. But we're bumping up against something over here that's slowing us down with Mars and Saturn and Pisces throughout the day. But then again, with all the Aries fire over here, again, I don't know who's going to win. What I can see here, though, is that Jupiter's moved a degree closer to Uranus. So there we are. And Ceres has moved 1 degree towards, or it's now right in the middle of the sign of Capricorn. So things are moving along, of course. Let's go ahead and go to Sunday, Easter Sunday. So maybe the plans for Easter were the challenge. But by Easter Sunday, with the moon in Sag, look at all this. What do we have? 4 trines coming in. So the Sag moon is trining Mercury, Eris, and Chiron. So it can be really good and fun and flowing. But I mean, it would certainly make for fun story time with kids, or egg hunts and all of that, but maybe movement oriented is all I can say. Very, very movement oriented energy on for Easter Sunday. Now, Ceres is still, we have this waning square coming off the south node, but it's in this building square to Chiron, Eris, and Mercury will probably kind of move on. But for now, hold on, let me open this up. Yeah, coming off a Ceres, it goes. Yeah, we don't have that square. The square is between Well, yeah, I'm going to talk about that next. Let's stay here with Ceres though first, because that's a lot. Those are, 3 squares. So connected to the North Node is still there, and then we have Chiron, and it's moving into an exact square with Eris, which is, Eris is just going to sit there. It moves very, very slowly. Like I said, 558 years to get around the zodiac. So anyway, the squares to Ceres are that it's really just that tension field to work through old, family issues, familial issues that need to be healed, so that you can move on with a lot of courage. And the way I like to, sometimes you just go deep and you feel all the pain, but then if you, and when the pain does come up, you don't want to be up in your head and thinking about anything. You just don't, because it's counterproductive. When emotional pain comes up, you just want to feel it. It's best to just go with it and feel it. But then later, when that's all released, and you've cleared out old layers of numbness that you had to, the numbness comes in when you're little, because in order to stay connected to your parents, or the lack that they're there, you're needing to connect to something. And then it's because you can't, what happens is that you go into shock, your emotional body goes into shock, and the only way you can survive is to numb out. But when you get older and you realize that you're numb in certain places, things are starting to thaw out already. So we meet levels of pain, and then what happens is that we're thawing out, just like if it were an ice cube. Like imagine having a little ice cube in your soul substance, or around your heart, around your core, and around your core essence. And the more that ice cube's thawed out, the less pain you have in your body, the more your core star shines and connects with the universe, where it was previously walled off. So that healing process is extremely important. And as you do that, your brain will work better, and you'll have more courage. And you see that we have, with the square here from Aries to Mercury in Aries to Pluto in Aquarius, there's that tension field. And that's really important. So think of, with Chiron being your deepest wounding, there's also those great, courageous, brave gifts of presence and independence. So just hang in there is all I can say. Let's see. Anything else? With all the trines, I talked about that. We've got the squares here. The Pluto, let's talk a little bit more about that. With the square from Pluto to, or Mercury is squaring. Pluto's pretty much sitting there for a while. Mercury's moving quickly, and then it's going to go retrograde. That's the thing. It goes retrograde the day after. It goes retrograde Monday. Yeah, I think it's about 3:14 p.m. Pacific that it goes retrograde, and it'll be at 27 degrees. And if I remember correctly, it retrogrades back to 8, I think. No, 15. It's 15. So it'll retrograde. By the time the retrogradation period's over, it will have connected. It's going to cross back over Eris. And we're going to be on, with Mercury, we're talking news, messages, and we're going to be talking about women's reproductive rights and women's equality and all that courageous work that needs to be done for that. And when Mercury is done with its retrogradation process for this one, lasts for 3.5 weeks, it will be back up here talking a little bit to Chiron. So this, for the next, I would say from Easter Sunday through to when Mercury goes direct again, it's going to be April 25th. So that's, that 3.5 weeks, that's quite a long time. It's all going to be about healing that deeper inner conflict so that you're processed through the trauma, the wounding. So with Chiron and Aries, it's all about your independence and healing abandonment issues so you don't abandon yourself, healing issues of being impulsive and trying to just win everything. Get into understanding with yourself, like, why is it you feel you need to win? Like, what is it? What's going on there? And if you can work with creating those win-win situations, everything's going to work out. And then from there, after this Mercury retrogradation is done, it's very possible that you've accessed your deeper gifts. Because remember, the gifts are always there under the wound. So doing the personal process work is the deal. And then when you're with Mercury conjuncting back to Chiron, what we have going on there will be the ability to think more clearly because you're hooked up to your gifts. And again, like I said, those gifts of presence, of courage, of positive self-assertion and moving forward going in the right direction. And the sun by then, of course, will go 1 degree every day. So within that 3 weeks, the sun will be right in there too. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's it for this time. With the moon and Sag, I think I've covered all that. We've got, except for that in conjunct to Uranus. Again, the little piece there just has to do with making an adjustment that could come in because something was a little unpredictable. Well, hey, it's Easter Sunday. We're dealing with lots of little ones. Lots of Easter baskets and fun things. So, yeah, I think that's it. We're just looking, I'm looking at what's going to be next week. It's this Saturn that's with that in conjunct to the South Node. That will be the focus, I think, for next week. Yeah. Okay. Well, sending you big hugs as always. Take good care. Bye.